So in this video, I'm going to be talking about why you shouldn't charge your clients large retainers, why you shouldn't charge them a lot of money every single month, and if you do, why you're stupid, right? And this video might annoy some people, might rub some of you up the wrong way, and you might try and start justifying your way of doing business, but this is my belief, and my belief is right. So first, let's look at the state of the agency space. And it's been built on a mindset and a philosophy of go out there, sign as many clients as you can as possible, charge them as much as you can, and when they leave, just have a pipeline full of people that want to become your client so you can just replace them very easily. And what it's built or created is this real churn effect in most agencies where they'll sign a client on a 3-month contract, they don't get that client results, and they just try and replace that client by just doing continuous outreach, more volume, more cold emails, more cold DMs. All the ads that are helping agencies grow are just, would you like a packed calendar? Do you want a packed calendar? 90 appointments in the next 30 days, blah, blah, blah. Let's just say, I would hate that. I would hate to have 90 friggin' sales appointments on my calendar in the next 30 days. That sounds horrible. Sounds like my worst nightmare. Onboarding multiple clients every single week. Horrible. Worst nightmare. For me, I like to work with small number of clients and work with them for a prolonged period of time. Now, here's my belief around how much money you should charge. So again, some people will be like, oh, just charge them as much as possible and just squeeze them dry. Get as much as you can out of them as possible until they decide to leave. And then just replace them. I don't like that mindset. That's not how I want to build my business. So, people will start flexing on social media, being like, oh, look at this client retainer, and they charge them 35 grand or 20 grand. And they're like, look how much I charge, aren't I amazing? And they feel like the metric that you should base your agency's success of is the highest retainer you've charged. I charge my clients 20K per month, right? What I believe in agency success is the retainer size times the retention. How much do you charge and how long do you charge them that for? And that's the total billed amount of the client, right? And that is a much more, I believe, a better metric to judge your agency on versus, oh, what's the biggest retainer you've charged for? Because a lot of these guys that are flexing, oh, I charge my client. You see some people 45K, 40K, 30K. If you do that consistently, you're not going to retain your clients very long. A lot of the people flexing those numbers, they don't flex the retention rates. They just flex how much they charge the client. Because if you're billing your client 25K, 30K a month, it's not going, even if you're doing a good job, even if there is a return on that money, for the most part, most people are going to pay that invoice for a few months and then going to be like, look, I can hire a full-time employee to do this, or I'm going to go with this agency who's promising the same results and they'll do it cheaper. Maybe they won't do as good as a job as you, but your client is going to believe that they can because they're not happy with the money that you're charging. I know one ad agency, and they were charging a 10K a month retainer, and then they charged profit on top of that. So some of their clients, they were billing 25K, 30K, 35K. And that's fine. But these guys were just running the ads. It wasn't like they were a full stack marketing team where they were doing everything. They were literally just creating the YouTube ads and running them. Now, again, that's okay, it's good, charge that much for a client, but that client isn't going to pay them that for very long. And I know that agency, they don't have the best retention. They do a good job and they get their clients results. And, sometimes they don't make the clients money. Obviously, not every agency does it for every client, but it's not like their performance was bad. It's not as if they were scamming their customers. They weren't. They were good, reputable agency. They did a good job. But just the fact, if you're billing that much for just ad services, and I say just because obviously to get a ad, to get ads profitable, it is, a highly demanded skill. But in the client's eyes, when they're just paying that much money per month, they're just not going to stick with you for a long period of time. So you can go and try and bill your clients as much money as possible, but your retention is going to be low. Me, I have taken a different approach. I do, if you look at the industry, I do undercharge my clients. It will be like a low retainer and a percentage of the profit. And even sometimes we've even capped the profit that we will bill a client in a certain month. And some of you will be like, what? You put a cap on your profit? I'm like, yeah. Because if you consistently charge your client 20 plus K per month, every single month, it's not going to be that long until they get rid of you. Unless you have like a unique relationship with their client and with that client. But like for the most part, people aren't going to stick with you. And like I said, I probably do undercharge for my services. But I'm okay with that because our clients stick with us for a long freaking period of time. One of our biggest clients, well, two of our biggest clients, our two biggest clients right now, been with us for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Most agencies struggle to get their clients to stay with them 2.5 months, right? We got them for 2.5 years. And okay, maybe I could have charged those clients more money. Maybe I could have made more money. But if they only stuck with me for a year, then again, the total billed amount of that client isn't as high as what it would be today after 2.5 years together. So I made a decision early on that I was going to sacrifice a little bit of short-term cash to keep my retention high, because that's the type of business I like to build. I like working with a small amount of clients for a long period of time. It's easy. We have a good relationship. Those two clients, we'd never have a check-in call. It's just very relaxed through Slack communication. Easy to work with. We know the business inside out. They trust us with everything. We make them money. They pay us money. And, those two clients alone pay for my entire lifestyle, right? And I like that peace of mind. I like knowing that that money is definitely going to come in. And there's going to be a day where that relationship ends, and that's okay. But we've kept them 10 to 20 times longer than most other agencies keep their clients, right? And here's another thing why it specifically works for me. So I work in like the info product space where we're working with coaches, right? Now, in the info product space in particular, even though there's a lot of coaches out there and there's a lot of people selling info, as an agency and a service provider, you only really want to work with the top 1% because the bottom 99% are trash, right? They don't have a good offer. They don't have a proper niche dialed in. They're not good at sales. They don't have a personal brand. They don't have a following. Like, they suck, right? So, I mean, that's a little bit harsh, but like you only want to work with like the coaches industry. It's like you either work with the best people, anyone under the top 1%, not worth spending time working with because they don't have the money to pay you. They're good at sales, all the stuff I just said, right? So when I'm looking at it, like I only want to work with the top 1%. Now there's only a certain amount of coaches in that top 1%, right? There's not millions of people that I really want to work with in the online coaching space. There's only a small amount. So for me in particular, I made that strategic decision of, look, I only want to work with this small pool of coaches. I can't really afford to start churning clients every 3 months because that top 1% is also difficult to sign them, right? Because everyone's going after them. They already have like marketing teams. Like there's lots of different elements to it. Why in my scenario in particular, like I didn't want to have that like sign and churn model where I was having to sign new clients every single month. So that was like a big thing for me. Now, if you're like running a local lead gen agency and you're working with frigging chiropractors and you can, as long as they have like a practice or a location, then you can work with them. If that's only your qualification because you're confident that you can get results for like any type of chiropractor, as long as they have a location and they have a phone call where they can answer the phone, then fucking go nuts. Go and sign a load, churn a load, just build a business where you're just focusing on sales and not client retention. Go nuts, but and charge them as much as you can. But I don't have that luxury where it was like, I can just sign and churn every single month because there's only a small pool of people that, I want to work with, plus like I can confidently get results for. Because like I said, there's a lot of elements to a coaching business and sometimes the clients aren't ready to hire an agency who wants to spend a load of money on ads. So I also saw like another thing as well, which goes against my belief in this. I can't remember who said it. Was it that guy called Serge? I can't remember his surname. Fairly big name anyway in like the agency space. He said something along the lines of like, if your client, I don't know, this is going to paraphrase, but he said something along the lines of like, if your clients stick with you for like over a year, or he might have even said 6 months, I can't remember. He said, if your clients stick with you for over a year, then you're basically just an employee. You're not a service provider. And his mindset was like, you're not charging them, like you're probably charging them like an employee's salary. You're not charging them enough. And then also you're probably getting taken advantage of, and you're probably acting like an employee that is just like a yes person, that is just doing like any job possible for them. Whereas his mindset was more like, if you're a service provider, you charge a high fee, you've got this authority, and after a few months, they'll probably try and take it in-house or hire someone else because you're charging too much. And I can't remember the exact tweets it was, but he said something along the lines of that. And he was basically bashing my type of way of building the agency. Not me in particular, he probably doesn't know who I am, but he was like bashing my philosophy on it, being like, if they stick with you if your retention is higher than this much, then you're just an employee for them. And, honestly, I'm not going to like completely disagree with that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it though. So like, for example, we do undercharge. For one of our bigger clients, we do charge a small retainer that isn't the biggest in the world. And we do a lot of stuff for our clients. We not only run ads for them, but we also, do the emails, funnel building. We've edited some videos. Like we do a lot, right? And we're basically the marketing team. Like we're basically the marketing department. But I don't think that's a bad fucking place to be in. Like I agree with him a little bit, but like again, it just comes down to like the business you want to build. Like, do you want to fucking spend all your time sending cold emails, doing cold DMs, and getting on sales calls, or like managing a sales team? For me, fuck no. Do not want to do that. I just want to do marketing most of the day. And having my agency set up in a way where we have high retention rates allows us to do that and to work with a smaller amount of people. So that's why I think people get caught up in the trap of like, this person's charging this much, so I need to charge this much. But the person who you're trying to copy doesn't tell you that their clients are pissed off that they're paying so much and they leave after 3 months. So if you want to go and model that, where your clients always leave you, then go nuts, charge them more. But I'm a big fan of making it like a real win-win and making it kind of like the pain of paying the invoice to me every single month has to be less than the pain and the risk of switching to someone else. But the problem is with most agencies, they put their prices so high that the pain of paying that invoice is higher than the pain and the risk of switching. And that's why most people lose their clients after a couple of months, even if you're doing a good job. And there's nothing more annoying than that, than you're making your client money and they go and change service providers. Oh, why we're making them so much money? It's because you're charging too much. Right? And maybe it is a fair amount you're charging for the value, but the client obviously doesn't think that way and they don't believe it. And that's why they're switching. So that's why they're trying to bring it in-house. So that's what the philosophy I've always tried. Yes, I have increased my prices over the years. Yes, we do have profit percentages on ads that we generate, like the profit from the ads. But like I said, even in some clients, we've capped it. Because I said to them, hey, look, I think I billed them 16 grand in a month. And it was at that time, that felt like a lot to me. I know it's not that much, but I remember saying to them look, we'll cap it next time so we don't charge you more than this ever. Because I know if I charge you this every month for the next 6 months, you're probably going to try and find a cheaper solution. So I said, look, let me cap it for you. And they really were grateful for that because they were like, oh, Sam's actually looking out for our best interest. He actually cares about us. He cares about our relationship. And maybe some of you will be like, oh, it's a stupid move. Why are you capping your income? Don't be so soft. My retention's fucking high. And that's the type of business that I want to build. So if you want to go in the sign and churn model, go friggin' nuts. But that's not what I want to do. And I think a lot of people would actually benefit from working out that equation, pain of paying the invoice versus pain of switching. And if you create that equation in the right way, in your favor, then you can still earn very good money from each client, but you can retain them for so much longer. Your life's going to be easier. You're going to be happier. You're going to run a healthier, a better business, and you're just going to work with a higher caliber of client that is just going to make things so much more enjoyable. So that's my philosophy on it anyway, for what it's worth. yeah, thanks for watching the video. See you on the next one.